Hello, everyone. Welcome to this Astrology Weekly, week number 12. We're looking at the week for March 17 until March 23. Hi, I'm Patricia Grootjans. I'm a BQH practitioner and astrologer. And today we're going to look at the week of the equinox. So I'm going to share my screen with you and we're going to dive in. Okay, there we are. Now I've placed everything on one screen. Okay, now this week starts with the Aries Equinox on the 20th of March. And this is when the sun goes into the sign of Aries. And this is a very significant equinox because the Aries equinox is like the new year. It's the astrological new year. And in this particular year of 2025, this Aries equinox is like the great reset. It's the beginning of a new cycle because this year many planets will move into Aries. And some of them are now still in the sign of Pisces, but we are seeing that they are slowly moving all into Aries. And this is the beginning of a new era, a new cycle. And this is the year of the great new cosmic reset. I've mentioned that before in one of my other videos, and but I do want to mention it again because this equinox is the time that it is really happening. And what is the equinox astrologically? Well, astrologically, it is the sun moving into Aries, but it is also the beginning of the spring season on the northern hemisphere. And on the southern hemisphere, it's the beginning of autumn. Now, the equinox is not only the beginning of a new cycle, it's a new beginning for all of us because it has this energy of Aries, the pioneer, the adventurer, the warrior, the one who is trying to walk the path that it hasn't been explored yet. So, being a pioneer in your own field, that is what the Aries energy is all about. It's also about the warrior in ourself. It's about getting in touch with that archetype in ourself that is able to defend ourselves, to stand our ground, but also to protect our environment, our place. And so this is also related to taking your space and also to create your auric field because this is your energetical space. Now, Aries is related to sports and to physical exercise. And what this equinox means is that it can bring balance in how we deal with our energetical self and our physical self. And as Aries is also the sign of the I am and the need to build an identity, this is also about setting boundaries to who we are. Now, boundaries is not particularly an Aries type of behavior, but it is necessary when you want to create your own identity. So, in that aspect, it is also related to boundaries in a different way than the Capricorn energy would set boundaries, but in a more fiery way, passionate way, and through assertiveness. What we also have is on March the 2nd, 22nd, is that we have the quarter moon in Capricorn. Now, this quarter moon in Capricorn will help the Aries equinox energy. It will help to manifest boundaries when you are setting down your identity, when you are stepping forward, but also when you are making plans to explore new areas in life. Because remember, Aries is the pioneer. Now, the equinox is also about balance between the light part and the dark part. So it's about the balance between consciousness and subconsciousness. It's also about balance between the I and the we. So choosing between yourself or choosing to work with others. So the energy this week is all about balancing out those needs. Now, I've mentioned that this is also the cosmic reset. And we see that Neptune is right now in the last degree of Pisces. Pisces is a sign that belongs to Neptune. So Neptune has been feeling very at home in the sign of Pisces, but now it is in the last degree. And the last degree is often called the anaretic degree, or sometimes called the critical degree. Because in that last degree of a sign, it's as if this planet is giving all of its energy one more time before it moves on to the next zodiac sign. So, what does this mean when we have Neptune, the planet that is all about our spiritual needs and our need to experience oneness? How does that express itself in the sign of Pisces? Well, in many ways, it is spiritual. It's about raising consciousness. It's also about creating unity consciousness and one love. It's about empathy and seeing that we are all one big family and that what reaches one person also reaches another. What affects one person also affects another, because essentially we're all connected through the collective one consciousness. And the sign of Pisces has many gifts to give. It's about building empathy, it's about becoming aware of other realities, the dream realities, but also hypnotherapy is something that really belongs to the Pisces energy. It's about moving into other dimensions, and where the differences between, or the borders between dimensions are fading away. Yeah, that's how I should say it. And when Neptune is in the last critical degree of Pisces, what we see happening is that the theme of illusions come up. So it could be that if you have an important planet around that degree and in a conjunction with Neptune, or maybe in an opposition, then it could be that you are being challenged to look through the illusions of life. And sometimes these lessons can be painful, but eventually they are here to clear things up and to make us more aware and to raise our consciousness. So, looking through the illusions is a way of looking through the deceptions. So, this is something else that could come up around this time when Neptune is in the last degree of Pisces. When we look at this last degree of Pisces and Neptune's position more from a collective perspective or a mundane perspective, we can see that this is also about water. And this can have to do with how we manage water and how we clear water or how we set boundaries to water. It's like the bedding of a river. That's how you could compare it with. And so, in a similar way, that water sometimes needs something of a boundary, our emotions also need certain boundaries because we want to contain them. And because if we can contain them, we can grow by our emotions. And if we are being over flooded by our emotions, it can literally um, take us away, move us away from our identity, from the I am. So, in order to stay grounded and to stay connected with who we are, we also need to contain our emotions. This doesn't mean that you don't have to express them, because we do need to express our emotions, but in a in a controlled way. I guess that's the best way to put it. Another thing that is related to Neptune in Pisces is the spiritual bypassing. And this is something that I came across for the first time when I was into Buddhism. And there was a book about spiritual bypassing, which is basically about using spirituality as a way to ignore certain conflicts in your life or to escape certain conflicts. And so spiritual bypassing is about using spiritual developments in order not to look at ourselves or not to look at conflicts or the situations that we really should be confronting and that we should be dealing with. So you could also call it a spiritual escapism, I guess. And this is something that we see when Neptune is in the last degree of Pisces. Now, I've mentioned about gurus before in one of the other videos, and I think it's worth mentioning now that we are talking about Neptune in the last degree of Pisces, that this is also something that could come up because it's about looking through the illusion and also looking through the mask of certain gurus. And no matter what kind of gurus we mean by gurus, politicians can be gurus as well. And but it's all about a reality check. And now, if we look at the Neptune and Pisces theme from a more practical perspective, and we think about water, it's also relevant to see that water needs to be available to everyone and that it's a basic necessity. So this is something that can come up. Are the waters clear or are they polluted? Who is controlling the water? Who is managing the water? And now, some of you may know that I'm really a big fan of Veda Austin and her work with water and how she discovered that we can communicate with water. And this has brought me on a search for connecting with the consciousness of water. I think this is an example of one of the the most beautiful ways how Neptune in Pisces expresses itself. It's about connecting with the spirit of water. And I believe that water may be God, because water is the thing that gives life. It shapes life, and it can communicate with us. It can have so many different expressions. And when we look at our planet from a distance, what we see is water. So, what if water is God? How would we relate to God if water is God? How would we take care of God? How would we take care of water? And how would we take care of the water inside ourselves? How would we relate to the water in ourselves? How do we relate with the water in ourselves? Because we are water beings. And if we are respectful to our inner water by how we communicate with ourselves, so the self talk, but also which water do we take in and which water do we use? It's all related. What is happening inside of ourselves is also being expressed outside of ourselves. And I think this is a beautiful week now that we have the equinox, which is about fire and air, the Aries energy, opposite the Libra energy, which is the air aspect. And with all these planets that are still moving through Pisces, entering the last degree before they all move into Aries, and we have that great cosmic reset. This is a time to look at ourselves and to see what do we want to close down, what do we want to complete, because the last degree of Pisces isn't only the last degree of Pisces, it's the last degree of the zodiac, where 0 degree Aries is the beginning of the zodiac. The last degree of Pisces is the ending of the zodiac. So it's the completion, it's the completing of a cycle. And if we look at our lives, is there something that we need to complete? Is there something in our emotions that we need to complete before we can move on to the complete Aries reset? Okay, this is it for now. I hope that you found this video to be inspiring, and I hope to see you next time in the next video.